Hey everyone, I'm Justin with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the Morimoto XB LED taillights, available for all 09 to 14 F-150s, even including the Raptor. Now, you guys should be checking out the 50-state legal Morimoto tails for your F-150 if you'd like to go with a full LED conversion that will help deliver one of, I think, the most unique looks in the category, while still maintaining a factory-styled red lens, all backed by a pretty stout 5-year warranty. So when it comes to features, we do have a couple biggies to cover here. First and foremost, if you have factory incandescent taillights on your truck, which, let's be honest, every 12th gen essentially does, then you are going to be converting that basic dull stock taillight to something that's going to be packing a 100% LED operation. Now, not only will these LEDs just look much brighter and much better overall, but the way they're going to be implemented here with the Morimoto taillight is really, really cool. Now, for starters, you're getting the diffused LED running light that kind of runs around the perimeter here of the housing. I think that's going to contribute to a modern look, kind of reminiscent of the 21 and newer F-150s. But if we go even a step further, it's really going to be the three-dimensional blocks that kind of jump out at you. And I mean that literally. Now, these blocks, both upper and lower here, are going to be handling things like your turn signals and, of course, your braking duties. And due to the design of those blocks, they do deliver that very cool three-dimensional look. I like it, very unique in the category here, and it certainly stands out. Now, sandwiched in between those blocks will be your LED reverse lights here. Again, obviously in the white portion there. A cool feature here to point out that Morimoto tells us about is that if you'd like to use their additional backup booster light bar with these tails, you totally can, and it's a very simple plug and play addition. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically the backup boost bar is a license plate mounted light bar available from Morimoto, separately from the taillights, of course, but what it does once installed is give you an additional boost of about 2,700 lumens when you back up at night. So obviously it makes things a lot brighter back there. And if you did want to pair that with these XB taillights, you can, and it's a very simple plug and play install. Now let's move into construction here, and before we go any further, I do just like to point out that Morimoto taillights consistently are up there with some of the nicer options in the category from a build standpoint, and the same can be said for the XBs that we have here on the table today. Now, these specific lights are going to combine a black housing, but with a dark red lens. You'll notice it's certainly darker than your factory lights, I feel like, but at the same time, it's not smoked. It's not a gray light. So you are getting still some of that factory flavor, but the fact that it is paired up with that black housing, I think gives it a more aggressive look at the end of the day. One thing I do want to point out, because of that red lens, this is a DOT and SAE legal light, basically legal for use in all 50 states. And the lights themselves are backed by Morimoto's 5-year warranty, just in case you should ever run into any issues. Moving into price point here, guys, and the XBs from Morimoto will live in that low to mid $500 range, which certainly puts these, I would say, in the upper echelon of F-150 taillights for this particular generation. Raxium will also offer a full LED conversion that can be had for a little bit less at the end of the day, but the XBs from Morimoto, I feel, are going to be very unique in the three-dimensional design of the lights themselves, and of course you have to factor in one of the best warranties in the category, all of which does contribute at the end of the day to that higher price point. Last but not least, let's talk installation here, and the site is going to call this a soft 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you an hour at absolute most to complete from start to finish. Now guys, again, these are going to be a direct swap plug and play job. There is 0 additional wiring needed to get everything up and running. So again, this should be a pretty easy one in the garage or driveway for you. Now we'll throw it over to an AT customer at home to show you the install process.
Hello, all right. We are going to be installing the Ford F-150 09 to 2014 XB LED taillights by Morimoto. Tools needed, pretty simple. We're going to need an 8mm socket. I'm going to be using it on our little electric ratchet here. That's going to be a 3/8 drive. You could use a 1/4 drive if you absolutely needed to. Not going to be much of a difference there as far as that goes. Here are taillights assemblies uninstalled. We're going to walk over to the truck. We're going to get started We are working on a 2012 Ford F-150 Raptor SVT. And as you see, we've got the stock halogen assemblies installed at the rear tail lamps. They're dim, they're dingy, they take on moisture at this point, they're old. They're just really not up to date. We're gonna drop the tailgate and get started here. Sure my ratchets going the correct way. We got two 8mm bolts we're gonna remove. One is right here, as you can see. The other's down below. Go ahead and back those out. We have a couple of push pins, pressure pins. They're gonna hold in this tail lamp assembly. Give it a little bit of hold here, hold here, and we're just gonna pull towards the back of the vehicle. Just like that. Okay, so for getting these sockets off, you've probably seen it somewhere else. They're pretty simple for the most part. What I do like to do so I don't have my tail lamp assembly jostling around and scratching the body, just undo them. I'm gonna remove them. And then I'm gonna place my tail lamp assembly aside. We're not going to be reusing these sockets and bulb assemblies. The new unit is completely LED. Sometimes it's easier when you're squeezing this pin to push the assembly together, which will release the pin, then pull apart. There we go. Okay. So there's what we got so far. We got our two bolts, got our old socket assemblies. We're gonna go over to the driver's side here, and we're gonna do it once again. When you're going back together with this, you may want to run this in by hand and not with one of these guys, just because you're using a big coarse screw bolt with a plastic body or housing assembly. Could be easy to damage if you're not careful. Again, pop that guy out. Then I'm gonna do the same thing again. I'm just gonna remove these socket assemblies so I can set my tail lamp aside and not worry about it just dangling and scratching everything. Usually it's gonna be maybe about a 45 or 50 degree turn counterclockwise to undo those guys. Let's see, we got our old assembly sitting there. Now we're gonna take these sockets off. Again, just kind of a little pressure in, squeeze the release clip, and then pull apart. Pretty simple. Good time to check the condition of these connectors too. Just make sure that you don't have any abnormal corrosion building up. Any cleaning or repair that need to be done, now's the time for it. And then our reverse lamp socket assembly. So what next step that I'm gonna do for this, being that we have a new assembly going in that has resistors built in to the tail lamp, I'm gonna take this dude and I'm gonna come underneath here. And I'm gonna run them all out underneath that bottom pocket on both sides. And then if you were interested in the Morimoto, if you've got yourself a Raptor and if you're interested in the LED side markers back here, now would be a good time to replace them too, is they are very, very easy to access with this tail lamp out. So once again, I'm gonna take this connector, I'm gonna run it under that little bridge on the body bed there. And now I've got everything nicely coming out the bottom, okay? So let's go get our tail lamp assembly and we're gonna install. We've got a press pin that goes in here and another press pin that goes in here that's gonna be on our new tail lamp assembly. And then we'll install our two screws to finish it up. Okay, here are our new tail lamp assemblies. These are gonna be a full LED unit. These things are beautiful. They've got these cool little puck crystal deals in there. I have a feeling these are going to look amazing. They got the little Morimoto branding there at the bottom, showing that they are DOT, and SAE approved, ready to rock and roll for the streets. And then here's our drive side. This drive side does have slightly different connector, or room for another connector. This is going to be for your boost bar, if you choose to get a boost bar. That's some additional light for backing up that is, I've heard and seen to be pretty amazing. We got our little modules there. We're ready to go. Let's get to the rig. Let's plug it up. Okay, we are now installing our passenger side Morimoto taillight. Got a couple smears on there from the water. Sorry about that. We're gonna plug these guys in. Does not matter which one goes to which, because you will have two connections that are the same size, as you see there, okay? Want to listen for that click, make sure these guys are in there all the way, nice and tight. Okay, that one clicked, felt it. And then lastly, this guy right here for a reverse lamp. Okay, nice snap. Now, with this, now that we've routed this socket, this outlet for that socket down, we can politely tuck all these guys in here, including our boost bar wiring, which we'll likely be using later at a different date, installing at a different date. Then we're gonna line it up and we're gonna try and get it right in where we need to get it. We've got a top in here. I'll make sure that guy's aligned, that's fragile. Let's be careful with it, just make sure it's where it needs to be. Get the tail lamp assembly flush to the body, and then we're gonna just go straight back like that. One of the cool things about these Morimotos is they do have a different footprint than the OEM 09 to 14 factory, which is really cool. They are out further in every direction. Okay, once we have our tail lamp assembly slid in, it's now time to get a ratchet. Again, if you don't feel comfortable putting this back in with a ratchet, I definitely recommend just grabbing a little hand tool, little ratchet wrench. Can show you here really quick a couple of different options that could be used. Again, we're running a 3/8 right here. 1/4 inch will do you just fine. So let's get you an idea about what we're working with. So it's gonna be, again, 8mm socket. And then we can use a nice little ratchet wrench like this. A little safer going in. You know, you're not gonna risk really hogging that opening out on the tail lamp assembly with plastic, not risking cracking anything. So we're gonna run that in with this guy. Gonna grab our hardware. Now we've got opening one right here. We're just gonna look in, make sure that it's lined up correctly. It's far enough back, it's not too far forward. Okay, nice and tight, not too tight. Again, this is plastic. We don't need to run these guys in like crazy. They're just kind of holding them in place, and our little tension pins are really gonna do the rest of the work. Ooh, that feels good, okay. So far, I really, really like the fitment. It's got a resemble of a newer aluminum body chassis. I know the 18s stick out a bit, and you've got your blind spot built into those tail lamp assemblies. Does have a really good look, especially if you're on a regular body and not just the Raptor. You'd really get a really cool looking build out on the tail lamp assembly itself. Okay, we're gonna go get the driver's side, and we're gonna install the driver's side. It's gonna be the same operation. The only exception again would be that if you're running a boost bar from Morimoto, you're gonna be doing it on your passenger side with that connector that we saw earlier, which is that little pigtail that's left over. Okay, let's go get the other tail lamp assembly, the driver's side. Okay, here we go. Just being as careful as possible to not scratch and scuff up our paint. There we go. Okay. Feels good, looks good. Let's gently feed these back in there. There's one of those guide pins we're looking for. Right there. Right here. 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 Okay. Very nice. Really nice fitment on these guys. Two 8 mils. Opening looks good. Okay. And then our second one down here. Gotta get this lined up. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. Get our old stuff off the tailgate. Let's fire it up. We're gonna check our lights. Blinkers, reverse, all that jazz.
Well, there you have it, guys. That will wrap up this review and install of the Morimoto XB LED taillights, available for all 09 to 14 F-150s. As always, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.